Hey, my friends, how are you? How was everyone tonight? You guys hear me okay? Hey, Jessica. Hi, YG. You know, Eli, I am not a baseball guy. My son plays baseball, and I am not. I am a football guy and a Golden State Warriors fan. Those are my two sports. Every once in a great while, I'll watch a hockey game, but I am just base. It's just not my thing. Hey, Lanky. I am neither. I was a Republican until 2016. I left the party when it became a cult of one person. I worship no man. I consider myself a person of faith, and it's idolatry. I probably very, I don't know if you want to call it progressive. I just care about people, and the Democratic Party doesn't have a backbone. They just kind of rolled over and taken it from the Republicans. So I don't believe either party. The shutdown. I think it needs to be the start of a general strike. Thank you, Philip. Don't you? Oh, thank you guys so much. You know what's weird? I started TikTok 2 years ago because of white Christian nationalism, because this is about white supremacy. I have like 122,000 followers on there, which is weird. I started this YouTube channel when I thought it was going to go down in April. I thought it would take me like 10 years. And it's been kind of weird, a weird ride. It's weird. I don't know if it's so weird, the algorithm in YouTube. If it's thumbnails, if it's titles, I don't know. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. You know, it's weird. I look at a lot of different channels. There's a lot of people with millions of followers, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to just be this rage baiter. And I know that sometimes my videos aren't going to be like the most sexy and tantalizing and outrageous. Sometimes they might be, but I think people are tired of both parties. Well, thank you, my friends. I appreciate that. Everybody asks me about Christianity. Listen, I don't even like Christianity, to be honest with you. I called myself a Christian until whatever this is. Let's look at thoughts on Joe Rogan. There's a lot of people that make videos and they sugarcoat things and they say things that are politically correct, and I am not one of those people. Maybe it's to my detriment that I'm too honest. Joe Rogan voted for an adjudicated rapist who he knew was at Epstein Island, who was a convicted felon, and he watched January 6th because Joe Rogan didn't want to vote for the black woman. Joe Rogan is what's wrong with this country. We have a lot of young white men that look up to people like him and the white nationalist podcaster and think that that's masculinity, and it's not. What he and that podcaster did to this country and people like Rush Limbaugh, it's going to take generations to fix. There's a lot of men in this country that are very insecure. They've been told that they're at the top because they're white, and they're seeing this country change, and it scares the hell out of them. Did I vote? Do you see my hat? Yes, Christian. This is not Christianity. Look at, do you honestly believe that Joe Rogan and the others watched? Yes, of course. Listen, Joe Rogan's a troll. Okay? Joe Rogan voted for a man who was liable for sexually abusing women. So did 77 million people. I was briefly on a TikTok live today, and I asked him, he's like, let's have a conversation. Cool, let's have it. Why wasn't Gene Carroll a red line? Well, I don't want to talk about the past. No. That doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. It absolutely matters. And that's what bothers me about a lot of people. And I'm not trying to be critical, but it's just who I am. I'm just going to be honest. It bothers me that too many people in this country are focused on rage baiting about breaking news. And did she say this? And did he do this? And did he do this? Because they want to whore themselves out for capitalism. This country cannot move forward until we address the misogyny and the sexism and the white supremacy. That is why we're here. It's it. And nobody wants to talk about it. So if it's just me, if I have to do this channel for the next 20 years until it's talked about, then that's what I'm going to do. This is the problem with this country. 249 years into this racist experiment, 50% of our country are women, and we've never had a woman president. Come on, stop it. Come on, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. What happened to the racist podcaster was a tragedy. The tragedy is that between 40 and 47,000 people die from gun violence every year. Okay? And all those people get are thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And this is where I have a problem with it. He said it is basically, he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword. It is worth the cost of dead Americans for the Second Amendment. Those were his words. He just didn't think it would be his life that would be the cost. And that's what happened. And white people since 1787, dating back to the Middle Passage, have had black people, minorities, women, Asian Americans, been the victims of all of the atrocities of the white man. And for once in their miserable white privileged life, the darkness came to their front door. What do you see? A bunch of little Karens losing their minds because they won't put a white racist on a coffee cup. I mean, let's be real. They're putting them on shirts. They're putting them on coffee mugs. People are leaving their church because their pastor won't say the name of a racist podcaster. And that's what he was. He joked about gay people being dropped out of buildings in Gaza. Oh, wait, there's no buildings. Ha 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 ha. I'm a Christian. He supported a president who was an adjudicated rapist and a convicted felon. This is who he said was a great man of Jesus. He joked about Kamala Harris not being black. He said she was the black Hillary, and he asked for the execution of Joe Biden. Wow, what a great man of God. He said that there was the great white replacement theory, that black people were taking white jobs. Yeah, he's a great man of Jesus, all right. Sure he is. Can I add my rap as a vid? Yeah, sure. Send it over, Eli. Message me on Instagram. That's what he was. And that, listen, when you, and I think next week I'm setting out a video about, you're going to see a lot of people in this country with the white victim card. What is that? White people see their majority going away, and it scares the hell out of them. Right? Where's my book? Hold on. I'll go. I don't know if I did it last week, but a couple days ago. Hold on. Oh, somewhere. Oh, I got rid of it. But Starbucks, right? During the holidays. Happy holidays. Oh, they're not saying Merry Christmas. It's a war on Christianity. Oh, a MAGA shoots people in a church last week. Oh, it's a war on Christianity. What about the 500 mass shootings every year? What about that? What about the war on children? Don't tread on me. Yeah, you know what really got me? Is that somebody like Hakeem Jeffries, who's a black man, signed on, had no backbone, to acknowledge a racist who said that Kamala Harris wasn't black and that the blacks were taking the white jobs. And Hakeem Jeffries said, yeah, That's what I'm going to do. That's the problem with the Democratic Party, is that they don't have the backbone to do what's right. You had 95 Democrats that voted yes. You had about 35 that said no and 29 that didn't vote. And I called Eric Swalwell, never heard back. I know of Tom Powell Jr. I don't know him personally, no. Right. And Jasmine Crockett last week said something very important. She said, I'm very disappointed in my Caucasian members of Congress because they said it was okay. And see, that's the problem with a lot of people in this country. They wait until an issue affects them before they give a damn. And that's the problem. And she's exactly right. And when you go see the Black Baptist Church that spoke after the school shooting, because that's what it was, a school shooting. I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary of what happened to the podcaster. They spoke the facts. They spread all these little white girl tears over a podcaster. They didn't know him. They never met him. He wasn't a friend. He wasn't a family. He just hated the same people that they did. And to leave a church over that because you won't say his name? Come on. Then you were going to the church for the wrong reason. Thank you, Laura. There's not going to be. Well, Andra, I think what a lot of people are missing the point on is the Klan leader in the White House is a black light on this country. Look at it like a hotel room when you have sheets, right? The stains were there. You just didn't see them. He's a black light on this country. What this is probably one of the worst sins that this country created was the lost cause in the Daughters of the Confederacy. We did a very, very, very grave disservice by not holding them accountable, putting them in prison, punishing them, and holding them accountable for what we did. They lied and said that it wasn't about racism. It was about states' rights, which was a bunch of crap. And then you had the Daughters of the Confederacy. And now you put up statues of losers that got their ass kicked, like Robert E. Lee. Yes, I have a passport. Do you think Putin is better than Trump? They're both the same. They're both dictators. They are. They're both garbage. One day they're all going to be sitting with Jeffrey Epstein. And they're all going to know who's on the list. Their day will come. J.D. Vance is not like the guy in the White House because he's not charismatic. What J.D. Vance wants is for the Klan leader to tear down democracy through his racism as a Klan leader. And then his hope is that enough of the foundation of democracy will be destroyed where him and his rich white friends can take it over along with Stephen Miller and the Heritage Foundation and Peter Thiel. That's the part that I'm more concerned about. How much will be left once he's gone? You can get your passports at the post office. But the general strike is... I wish I had like 1 million followers so I can push a general strike. I just don't have that many followers. This is whatever happened with the shutdown needs to be the springboard. This is going to be our last ditch effort right here. There's too many people in this country that are unwilling to be uncomfortable. It's primarily white people that they're being lazy. And they had a choice to be uncomfortable, but they chose to keep their jobs and live off their breadcrumbs. And if you look at the history of like the civil rights movement, they all got uncomfortable, but not white people. We're just sitting here. So do I want anybody to be uncomfortable? No. That's why I pushed the general strike. So people had the opportunity to willingly be uncomfortable. Now they're going to be forced to be uncomfortable. If you haven't seen the jobs report, it's atrocious. So last month, there was only 22,000 jobs created. Hold on. Where was it? Hold on. I'll tell you what it was. It was not good. I think we were supposed to have 35,000 jobs. And I think it went down to like minus 3,000. It's pretty bad. Do I feel bad? I don't know Charlie Kirk. He was the victim of a school shooting. Thoughts and prayers. I don't know what else he wants. There's nothing we can do. It was mental health. I don't know what people want to hear. Look, I'm going to tell you how many people died last year from gun violence. I'll tell you. Hold on. Because I have it. I have the exact stat from, hold on, 2024. Now, this is on the Gun Violence Archives. This is the actual website. So last year, 41,034 people died. 503 mass shootings. Between the ages of 0 and 11, 251 people. Between the ages of 12 and 17, 1,187. Did you see any of these white people crying, putting the names of little boys and girls that were identified by their dental records on Starbucks cups? No. Because they didn't give a damn. The year before, in 23, 43,319. 22, 47,602. 47,767 and 21. But all of a sudden, a racist podcaster was the victim of gun violence, and now Jesus is coming. Now you've awakened it. Now God's coming back. Are you kidding me? 1.2 million African Americans died on the Middle Passage. 8 to 10,000 black people were lynched. 350 Lakotas were murdered in Wounded Knee. 1,863 Asian Americans died in Asian internment camps. 16,000 Native Americans died during the Trail of Tears. But a racist podcaster, all of a sudden, Jesus is coming, you've awoken me, and these little white girl tears. I'm so sick of their shit. I am so sick of them and their fake outrage. They need to be the victim. They don't give a damn about life. They want to force women to give birth so they can have the right babies. They don't care if it starves to death, if it has a living wage, if it has affordable housing, if it dies in a school. They don't care if it dies from the environment. But as long as you have birth, I don't care. Once the child's born, that's socialism. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. I want nothing to do with you. They are the antithesis of pro-life. But if it's a trans person, right? If it's a trans person, somehow we're going to pass laws that it's mental health. The mental health crisis is white men in this country. 98% of gun violence is men. 83% is white men. U.S. citizens. January 6th, men. All of the horrible things in the Catholic Church, men. The guy in the White House, man. Men have started almost every war throughout the course of history. Not women, men. White men are the problem. Look at George Floyd, a white man. Ahmaud Arbery, a white man. Rodney King, white man. Breonna Taylor, a white cop. White. The church, a white man. The Catholic Church, a white man. The podcaster, a white man. You see a trend? But they don't want to take responsibility for it because they need to be the victim of a culture war. Wasn't Elijah the McClain, the young man that was in Colorado, like where they gave him like an injection or something from the ambulance? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Yeah. White men is the mental health in this country. You know what's sad is yesterday I was on a TikTok live. Who do I think is better? I don't think anybody's better. Too many people judge people by what they look like on the outside. But here's also the reality. Go watch the Netflix show about Katrina and make sure you watch the last episode. This is why it's important. There was a lot of parishes in New Orleans. Many of them had a lot of black culture in there, and they were primarily black. What happened after Katrina was the majority of the towns that were safe from the flooding in the higher land were white neighborhoods. After, when they rebuilt the parishes, you know what happened? They doubled and tripled the rent. Gentrification. Why? Guess what happened? Those were now white neighborhoods. That's the problem. Is that one demographic keeps shitting on people that don't look like me. Like Black Wall Street. They got ahead, burn it down. Oh, you want a black woman president? We're going to vote for the rapist. and again and again and again and again and again. They don't want equality. That's the problem with this country. And there's not enough people that are saying it. I don't have to give the talk to my kids. My house was never redlined. My house has never been appraised at a lower price. I made a video last week about this. There was a video where it was a black couple and it was appraised at like $1 million in the year, like 2 years before, it was appraised at like 1.5 million. So they whitewashed it. I don't even like that term, but that's what it is. And they had their friend who was a white lady go in the house, and guess what? It was originally appraised at 1 million. Then it was appraised at 1.5. That's a thing. That's called privilege. Oh, and by the way, my grandparents weren't in a tree, or they weren't on somebody's will as property to give to my sister or brother or cousin. That's privilege. There's too many white people that don't want to hear that word. They think because they're poor that they don't have privilege. Privilege is being treated differently. Has nothing to do with your financial situation. Do I support abortion? It's a woman's right. I have no goddamn say. Since Roe versus Wade has been overturned, women have an over 52% increased rate of mortality. And in blue states where they have Roe versus Wade, it's decreased 20%. That's a 72% swing. Does that sound pro-life? It's about control. It's the white man wanting to control people. That's all it's ever been. And until we address that, it's not going to get fixed. Amber Thurman's not here because of that. Look at what happened to Adriana Smith. She had complications from her pregnancy and she was brain dead. For 2 months, they forced her corpse to be alive on a ventilator, which is disgusting. And then they took the baby out. Do you think Republicans are over there praying for her, giving her donations, helping her family with the hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt? They don't give a shit about her. They don't care if the kid is shot in a school or if it has autism because there's no longer the Department of Education. They don't give a damn about life unless it's orange and wears diapers and abuses women. That life they seem to care about a whole lot. Oh, hey, Cat Daddy. Look, abortions, it's not just about, it's about free will. That's the problem with MAGA. They're not Christians. They're Pharisees. They're religious hypocrites that want to push white supremacy. Did God stop Adam and Eve from eating the fruit? No. Why? Free will. Did he stop the Holocaust? World War I? World War II? Did he stop Benito Mussolini from invading Ethiopia and sovereign nations as fascist leader? No. Did he stop Uvalde or Sandy Hook? No. Free will. But now they want to take away people's free will. It's about control. Yeah, and listen, I'm a person of faith. The 10 Commandments has no right to be in a school. The Bible has no right to be in a school. That is taking my faith and forcing it on you. That is the opposite of free will. The problem is with people like MAGA is that they have to tell you that they're a person of faith, right? They have to tell you that they're a patriot and they're an alpha male and they have guns and they have flags. Oh, look, here's a scripture to make you feel like a sinner. If you have to tell somebody that you're a person of faith, you're most likely not. I don't even own a cross. Why do I need a cross? How about if I just help people? Fight for people, stand up for people, feed the hungry, give people health care, fight for that. That's being a person of faith. Their faith goes as far as a golden cross. That's about it. Well, but look at how you have to understand what they view as a Christian nation. Look, they view this country as a Christian nation. So let's look at what let's look at this Christian nation, okay? It was founded by racist piles of garbage founding fathers that own black people. They brought slaves over here from African America, where 1.2 million died on the slave ships coming over the Middle Passage. And if you didn't know this, it's heartbreaking. But what happened was the bull sharks would actually follow the ships. because they would throw the dead bodies in the water and they would eat them. I'm not kidding. It's disgusting. It's vile. I was crying when I first heard it. It's disgusting. Then they said, well, thanks for coming over here. You survived not being thrown in the water, eaten by a shark. Now we're going to own you. We're going to tell you what to eat, where to live, who to love. And if you don't like it, we're going to whip you and we're going to throw you in a vat of sugar. Oh, and by the way, you're only worth 3/5 of a white person. Now you tell me, even in the 1860s when the Supreme Court said that you're not even a U.S. citizen after your 4th generation of being born here, how in the hell is this a Christian nation? You tell me. These people won't even do anything. They won't even give up a firearm in order to save one life. There's nothing Christian about this nation. It's nothing. But that's their version of a Christian nation because it benefited the white man. So in their terminology, it's a great white Christian nation. That is what they mean, right? Right, PJ. I got a video coming out about that alcoholic womanizer, Pete Hegseth, was disgusting pig, gave medals to the soldiers that murdered a 350 Lakota at the Wounded Knee. I hope he rots in hell. Let me tell you what happened to Wounded Knee. Yeah, and Charlie Kirk was against everything. He was against everything that did benefit a white man. He wasn't a good human being. He just wasn't. Lakota had already surrendered and they were on their way to go somewhere else, okay? But in the meantime, it doesn't happen overnight. They had 4 cannons surrounding them and they had soldiers surrounding them. They were doing a ghost dance because they didn't want the white man there. I don't blame them. It was their land. Andrew Jackson wrote over 300 agreements to give them all this land, and he goes, nah, I'm not going to follow it. The Supreme Court told him to follow it. He said, nah, good luck. So what happened was, one of the soldiers, while they were doing their ghost dance, he came up to a guy, and he grabbed him. The guy was deaf. His name was Black Coyote, and his rifle went off. And it turned into this bloodshed. 350 of them died. The majority of them, hey, Paula, the majority were innocent women and children, and they buried them in frozen graves and just left them there like garbage. And this piece of human trash, alcoholic who cheats on his wives, Pete Hegseth, awarded those 20 officers from 1890 medals. That's who he recognized. The white man crapping on the Native Americans. It's disgusting. Yeah. So Pete Hegseth, let's talk about this great Christian man, Pete Hegseth, really quick, this alcoholic. First of all, he's been drunk at many professional hearings, events. One day he was so drunk, they had to pull him off of a stripper stage in Louisiana. In 2017, he had to pay $50,000 for sexually harassing a woman. His first wife, she left him because he kept cheating. His second wife, again, cheated on her with who? A Fox News host, and had a child out of wedlock. He ends up marrying her, and that's who he's with now. This is the guy that has the audacity to go on stage and call people fat, while his lard-ass wannabe dictator over here that wears diapers and orange makeup can't even hold a glass of water, can't walk up a set of stairs or go down a ramp, that was a draft dodger. He has the balls to sit up there and call these people fat that serve this country. That's where we are as a country. It's vile, but they don't care. And there was I'm assuming you guys saw that video, that disgusting video about the sombrero. Did you guys see that? It's pretty nasty. It was 2 days ago. Did you guys all see that video? I posted it. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. It's nasty. It's vile. I mean, we're an absolute joke as a country. I was really hoping that January 6th would have been the red line, and there's none. Mike Johnson has no backbone. Now, I think Mike Johnson's probably on the list or has donors that are on the list. Both sides are on that list. And I say this as a former Republican, and I wasn't like hardcore into Republicans. I was just a default Republican, right? This is where we are. Not only are they supporting a man who abuses a woman who's an adjudicated rapist, Mike Johnson put Congress in recess so that Congress wouldn't vote on releasing a list that knows that the president of the United States molested little girls on an island. I want you to think about that. And even now, this Congress lady in Arizona won the special election. She's the last vote they need to force a vote. He's refusing to swear her in so they can't vote so he can continue to hide the Epstein files. My stream is freezing? Really? I don't care if my dad's on the list. Lock his ass up too. My sister, my mom, my cousin. I don't care if my cat's on there. Lock my cat up. See, this isn't hard. It's very easy. If you even had a sniff of something that happened on the island, I want you to be buried in the prison and rot in hell. The fact that these women have to come up and relive their trauma is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And that's why I don't want to find common ground with MAGA. And I said this. Think about this. You're going to Thanksgiving dinner. Let's say you go with your sister, okay? And you're sitting next to her. She's the victim of sexual assault, which is horrifying. And she has to live with that trauma for her whole life, probably in therapy. And then you're going to come up there with a MAGA hat at the dinner table. Hey, Cindy, pass me the mashed potatoes. How is that person knowing that you not only took away her rights as a woman to do what she wants with her body, but that you didn't see sexual assault for 26 women as a red line? Well, I wanted no tax on tips. We're just going to agree to disagree. No, we're not. There's too many people that are just letting that go. That's the problem. There's been no accountability for the lack of morality in that party. And I won't do it. Yeah, here's the thing with the no tax on tips. I don't care about tax on tips. Whatever, give it to them, don't give it to them. This is the bigger issue. For these Pharisees, which is what they are, fake Christians, they sit in church and cosplay for 1 hour a week and say, I build my wealth in heaven where moth and rust. Okay? Morality, decency, kindness, compassion, empathy. But what do? I couldn't vote for the black lady because he said no tax on tips. More money. Is that building your wealth in heaven or on earth? That's the problem. And every 4 years, what do you hear from Republicans? Are you better off? That's a selfish question. What if I am? Let's say I live in a court with 10 neighbors and I'm better off. Am I just going to vote for myself? No, I'm not. And that's what too many of these fake Christians did in the last election, these Pharisees, is they only voted for something that affected them. Me. The last election, I own a small business. My taxes were going to go up with Vice President Harris. But you know what I voted for? I voted for women's rights. I voted for universal health care. I voted for Citizens United to get overturned. I voted for small businesses to start. I voted to help people with college loans. I paid for my college. But you know what? Not everybody has that luxury. Some people are stuck in generational poverty, and they don't have the privilege that I do. They didn't have that option. I voted for everybody else. That's what loving thy neighbor is. Watching women die of sepsis, but at least I got no tax on tips. Hey, let's go have pizza together. It's just a difference of opinion. No, it's not. It's a difference in morality. I got my certificate. What was that? 2012. When I first went out of high school, I basically flunked out of JC And then 12 years ago, I went back. I went to a 2-year college, and I was, what's it called, like redlined or redshirted, whatever it is. Like you're like below a 2.0. And I raised it from like a 1.8, and I ended up with a 3.5. It took me 6 years going to a 2-year college, going 2 days a week and every Saturday with kids and a full-time job, but I did it myself. I busted my butt. But I also realize that a lot of people go to college being sold this bullshit American dream. Go to college, get into debt for 20 years, and then make $40,000 or $50,000 a year. Pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Just work harder, and you're in debt your whole life. How are you supposed to afford a house? The only way an economy grows is the money that you get in and the money you put out. That's what helps the economy. If you're in debt for 20 years because of a college loan, you have less spending power, which means you're putting less money in the economy. That is not good for the economy. What I would do if I ever ran, I haven't decided if I'm going to, maybe one day. That loan, I would say, here's a date. We're going to pick this date, and from here forward, we're going to change it. But going back, whoever has outstanding loan, we're going to take off the interest because it's from the government. It's your money anyway. You're going to pay back the principal. That way you can get out of debt and you can afford a house and save money and have a better quality of life. Going forward, make it a 2% loan. It's our money. You shouldn't be in debt for 20 years paying interest because of going to college. Ronald Reagan used to pay for it. It used to be public. I have no problem just putting a 2% on there for the coverage cost. If it's our money, we don't need to have people in debt. I heard at 8 p.m. people are supposed to make noise. I have not heard that. Paul, I don't think this country is ready for me to run because I believe that too many people are stuck in tribalism. There's still too many people that think the Democrats are going to save us in the midterms. I don't know how to fix that. There's a lot of people that want to stay in this abusive relationship. Alex Padilla, my senator, has taken $10 million from AIPAC. Adam Schiff, $6 million. My two senators have taken $16 million from AIPAC. I think Hakeem Jeffries was north of $800,000. Eric Swalwell was north of like $160,000. Both political parties are bought by AIPAC. Vice President Harris was right. The system itself is broken. Look at it like this. There's a car with 500,000 miles on it. Has 2 flat tires. It gets 3 miles to the gallon, and it has a broken fan belt. Does it matter if a Democrat or Republican operates that car? No. It doesn't. Not enough people realize it yet. We view politics as a team sport. Okay? We go to a football game. We pay for parking. We pay for the tickets. We pay $20 for a hot dog and $10 for Diet Coke. Okay? Taxes. You go there, you cheer. Yay, no, up and down, up and down. Great, your team wins, you cheer, your team loses. Boo. What happens? What did you win? Not a damn thing. Debt on your credit card for the hot dog and the Diet Coke and the seat and the parking. And that's what politics has turned into. Nobody benefits. Is Mom Dobby taking money? I would highly suggest that he is not. I could be wrong. I highly doubt it. I believe that Mondavi is where most people are in this country. I really believe that. He doesn't want people to pay for a bus so you can go to work. Who the hell would be against that? He wants housing control. Don't we want affordable housing? But then we bitch that you're controlling housing rent. You can't have it both ways, people. You can't complain about housing prices, but then say, oh no, he's a socialist. He wants to control rent. Do you want affordable housing or not? You can't have it both ways. You just can't. If you don't make housing affordable, nobody can get into generational wealth. Go look at in the South. Go look at where the slave trade was, and go look at where a lot of the black population live today. It's not identical, but it's pretty damn close. You know why? Generational poverty. It's designed that way on purpose. And until people get out of it, you're never going to do it. You're going to be stuck in it again and again and again and again and again. Well, Lolo, it's not that I don't want to run. It's that I don't think that people are ready for somebody like me to run. I'll tell you what I would do if I would run. I would just run for president. I don't want to mess with the Senate or the Congress. I would bring a sleeping bag, a toothbrush, and a pillow, and I would sit in Congress. And this is what I would say. You're going to reverse Citizens United. I don't care how you do it. You're going to raise minimum wage to $50 an hour. I know it should be higher, but you have to take baby steps. Tax workers make $213 an hour. Bring it to $750. You can't say we're the greatest country with a $4 trillion budget and say you get a measly $213 an hour for being a tipped worker. You can't live on that. You can't. You reinstate Roe versus Wade, and then you put in safe gun reform, a background check, safe gun storage, a 2-week waiting period. Well regulated. That's what I want, is a well regulated. If we're not going to do those simple things, there's no reason for us to participate. And I would shut the whole thing down. I wouldn't pass the bill. I wouldn't hold a news conference. I would stay there until they do their damn jobs. Every day. That's what I would do. I would tell the people and put people in power that actually care about you. Do you like living in poverty? But that's what needs to happen. Somebody needs to go and break the foundation of this country with a jackhammer. What Citizens United meant to do? Citizens United. Great question. I should make a video about that. I am spooky. I see you. In 2010, the Supreme Court, in their infinite wisdom, ruled that a corporation has the same rights, if you want to call it rights, as a private citizen. So people like us that just live our regular lives, that aren't billionaires or millionaires, somebody like Elon Musk now can donate unlimited resources to a campaign. But a corporation doesn't exist. You can't lock up a corporation, right? That's the problem. When you have 3 people that have as much wealth in this country as half the country, when 70% of this country almost live paycheck to paycheck, when those 3 people can basically put $1 billion in there and buy an election, how is that free speech? It's not. We have no shot. We have 36.8 million people in poverty, 17 million kids go to school hungry, and just under 800,000 homeless people. With Citizens United, it allows billionaires and millionaires to dictate policy that benefits them while we get screwed. Citizens United was one of the worst things that Supreme Court ever passed. That in overturning Roe versus Wade. Though, I don't know what your question is. You have to ask it again. There's a lot of chat. I have to scroll up. Yeah, 60,000 are dead in Gaza. A couple hundred are news reporters. Thank you. If my understanding was that at the end of September, it was about 620,000 that are starving. And that's why I'm pissed off at both sides. Both sides are doing this. They won't call it what it is. It's ethnic cleansing. And we have people going over there because they're getting money. So AIPAC is donating to congressmen on both sides. And when you look at who gets the money and how much they speak out against Gaza, it's very clear the ones that speak out get either very little or no money. This is why, Mario, because they're getting money. They're bought and paid for, just like dark money and just like corporations. They won't speak out to people that are giving them money. So they're willing to go to Israel. All 50 states are doing this, by the way. They just sent last week a group from New Hampshire. These are state senators, not government, not federal, state. going to Israel. Looking at the damage from 2 years ago. Somebody said, "Are you going to monetize?" No, I don't. I don't do this for money. That's not why I started this. I think there's too much people asking for money. I appreciate that. No, thank you. No. But here's what happens, right? And then what happens is the Congress people send money to Israel. Right now, I think they're getting about $15 billion a year or something like that, 15 or 20 billion. It's over 240 billion over the last like 30 years. They get a crap ton of money. What does that do? It creates jobs because we build the Iron Dome here and we send it over. So that money creates about 10,000 jobs. So this genocide that's happening in Israel, we're funding it. They give the money to the people, then they create the jobs, they pass the bills, they fund Israel, and then we build the stuff here, and then we send it over there, and then they murder people in Gaza. Why would the people that receive money from AIPAC speak out against the people that are getting murdered by the people that they're getting money from and visiting? That's the problem. What happened on October 7th with Hamas attacks? I didn't see it. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas attacked Israel. It was horrible. But 2 years later, you cannot murder 66,000 people, majority women and children. You can't bomb a fucking hospital and say, oh, there's a bad person on the bottom floor. Sorry about the 20 dead kids. Hey, we're just defending ourselves. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're murdering people. And I hope one day Netanyahu is put under a prison and left to rot and then rot in hell with Jeffrey Epstein. He is a war criminal. He's a murderer. See? It's not hard to say. It's not hard. Very easy. It's disgusting. 66,000 plus, I believe another 18,000 are missing, presumably dead. And 600,000, they're not even letting food in there. Last week, Italy shut their entire country down, all their ports. They went on a strike for 1 day in protest of what's happening. Everybody should be doing that. Everybody. And for people that want to quote the Bible about Israel, if you think that Jesus would want innocent women and children and men dying, 60,000, you don't go and key somebody's car and then burn their family on the ground with their house and say, hey, I was just defending my car. That is absolute garbage. And then the cosplay president is making AI videos about building Trump Hotel. And then you have the racist podcaster joking about throwing gay people out of buildings in Gaza. Oh, wait, there's no Gaza. The problem is the DNC is the problem. They are spineless. They're bought and paid for. If Bernie Sanders would have ran in 2016, I really think he would have won. I really do. I believe the establishment forced Hillary Clinton in there. I believe that Bernie Sanders would have been a more moderate, independent, nonpartisan, taxing the rich people, working for a living wage. I believe that that would have resonated with most people, but the Democratic Party shit on him and pushed him out because they wanted to maintain the status quo. How is Trump Hotel relevant? Because he created an AI video about a month ago where he was joking about building a golden statue of himself where Gaza is. Basically saying that Gaza is going to be destroyed, and when it's gone, I'm going to take it over and build a Trump hotel. It's disgusting and it's vile. In this country went, nothing to see here. Hey, he's just kidding. It's sick. It's sick. He was going to build this hotel on the body of dead people. What is U.S. is waiting because we're too privileged. There's too many people that want to fight fascism watching Netflix. I cannot tell you how many people say, I can't afford to. I can't afford to. I'm not going to lose my job. That's fine. When your free speech is gone, when you have military on your streets, when you post something on Facebook they don't like and they sue you or put you in jail, Okay, that's fine. You can choose to live on breadcrumbs now or have nothing later. No, I appreciate that, Lolo. Yeah, I wish. I mean, ideally, I wish I get on like a Rachel Maddow show and just talk about a general strike. Indivisible doesn't want to do it yet. I don't know what they're waiting for. I've messaged him multiple times on Blue Sky. Did I quit my job I run my own business? I can. Once you get 12.5 million people, I'll consider that. Absolutely. I'll go in DC. I'll go camp out there in a tent. I have no problem with that. Not one damn bit. But I can't even get people to sign a petition. That's the problem. I've had 110,000 people look at it and only 4,700 sign it because they don't want to be uncomfortable. You cannot fight fascism. Look at what happened in Nepal. Nepal did the whole thing. They got tired of it. Those people had jobs. Those people have to live paycheck to paycheck. Those people have families. Those people burnt parliament to the ground. I'm not endorsing that at all. I'm just saying they did something and they had a French-style revolution on a smaller scale. It's going to take a while for that government to rebuild, but they looked at the macro. We're looking at the micro. Look at it like you're on a little boat, a dinghy, okay, in sea, and you have enough food for 7 days, and you see an island, and you can make it there. You're like, I don't know. I think I'm going to stay here. I don't want to take that risk. Okay. So what happens? You eat your food in 7 days. You're like, cool. Now I'm going to go to the island. And you look around and you don't even see it. You had drifted far, far away. Now you're going to starve to death. And that's what a lot of people are deciding, that they want to be comfortable right now eating breadcrumbs instead of willing to be sacrificed. So what's going to happen is people are going to get fired. They're going to lose their jobs. They only added 22,000 jobs last month. 22,000 jobs. And I believe this month it was negative 3,000. This is going south fast. That was from ADP. It went from 35,000 to -3. That's not good, man. The Venezuela thing was, I've only heard one report and I have not seen the article yet, but I know that one of the boats, the widow said that her husband was a fisherman. A fisherman. So this country just murdered innocent people. Do I believe in deportation? For who? For the president? For Stephen Miller? Yeah, ship his ass back to Britain or England. I have no problem with that. Yeah, there's going to be some Nuremberg-style trials when this is all over. I don't think the Democrats are going to do it because they don't have the balls to do it or the backbone. Stephen Miller is a Nazi. Let's just be real. When he was a kid, he found out that one of his best friends was Hispanic, and he never spoke to him again. He is a very dangerous man. He said that he wants 100 million people in this country, all white. He is a very dangerous person. The guy in the White House is just an idiot. He talks stupid to his base. This guy knows what he's doing. I worry about the red states. You know, at this point, these racists that keep voting for Republicans, they're going to have to feel the pain of losing their farms and losing their jobs to wake the hell up. You want to vote for a racist and a rapist? You know what? Then lose your farm. Thoughts and prayers. Take it up with Jesus. Go read Leviticus. I don't care. Really don't. Because they went to the voting booth in 2024 and said, I don't care about women's rights. I don't care about voting rights. I don't care about health care. I don't care about anything else for the American people. Not a damn thing. I just want no tax on tips, damn it. And the brown people. Good. Now you got no workers. The soybean thing. JD Vance he's a simp for Peter Thiel. He's part of the white male patriarchy. He is who he is. He's not very bright. He's not charismatic. He's not just, you don't just replace a cult leader. You just can't. They don't care about morality at all because, yeah, whatever, you have to understand, when you look at white Christian nationalism, it's not about Christianity or faith or Jesus. Look at it like this. When the Sanhedrin didn't like this Jesus guy, well, thank you, Lolo. They didn't want this Jesus guy who was nice and compassionate and empathetic. They don't, because they said, we don't like what you're saying. You're not going to conform to what we want, so we're going to murder you. Think about that. And then he were given a chance to back out. Pontius Pilate said, what did this guy do? Nothing. Okay. I'll let you release either Jesus or Barabbas, who murders Christians and who is an insurrectionist rotting in prison, who laughs about murdering Christians. Who did they choose? Barabbas. During the time of Samuel, who did they choose? King Saul. 2016, another earthly king. 2024, another earthly king. These people have never wanted God. They've weaponized a Bible, a book, to push their white patriarchy. That's all this is. And you have a lot of women, unfortunately, that buy into it. They have very low self-esteem. 2025strike.com is the petition. I wish I was more savvy on this. I don't know how to add stuff on here. I'm sorry. Channel settings. I can share my screen. I'll figure it out for next time. Why isn't there a well-organized, white-led anti-supremacy coalition saying we don't support? There's a lot of podcasters and news agencies that make money off of our outrage. Look, I'll show you. Hold on. I'm going to pick Midas Touch, just for an example. Watch. Let's see. What do you see? Bright yellow letters, right? Arrows. Corded like a rat. Shut down. GOP shutdown freakout. SCOTUS rules. Now let's look at Brian Cohen. Let's see what we got. Trump dealt a blow. Trump's insane claim. Bombshell. Mark Elias drops instant bad news. This is what they are, people. It's rage bait. That's why we're not dealing with the actual problems. It is clickbait. It's all BS. But here's the reality. We as a society like it. We like the outrage. Right? We watch the fire in Lahaina, but we don't care if it's rebuilt. There could be people still in the streets. We don't care. The flood in Texas. We don't care if it's rebuilt. The fires in LA. Do we care if the insurance claims went through? No. I mean, go watch the series on Netflix about the poop cruise. Like, literally, CNN stopped all their channels to watch a cruise that lost power in the sea because the toilets overflooded. This is what we do. We are addicted to outrage. Am I wrong? Yeah, and that's... I'm not going to get into the clickbait stuff. I mean, I want to at some point, like, you know, the whole YouTube thing, I'm still figuring it out. Like, are there certain times to post, certain times not to post? Yeah, I just, you know, I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes I want to do like a news thing. Like, my brain has a lot to go on and I don't want to make like a lot of videos, but I also don't want to do rage bait. I want to talk about actual issues. But the problem is, I don't have as many followers as these people, so my stuff gets pushed down. So I just don't know what that looks like. And the other thing is, like, I could make like a good thumbnail, but if people want to be rage baited, it's like it gets pushed down because people want to be rage baited. So it makes it hard sometimes. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll talk about the farmer, right? That wanted socialism. That gets like 200,000 views. But then something I was really passionate about, which is like Netanyahu and what's happening in Gaza, gets like 900. And that's the problem sometimes. And everybody, listen, every video is not going to be like a banger, if you want to call it that. But like where is it? Right here. Yeah, like this one. Like this one's really important, right? This is about the Trail of Tears, or the Wounded Knee. But I know I'm going to put it up, but I know that video is not going to get a lot of views because it's not this sexy, tantalizing thing. But it's really important. And sometimes when I talk about whitewashing history, it doesn't. But I'm going to keep doing it because it's important. Yeah, Pac-Man does that a lot. And I was troubled by the report that Wired put out that a lot of these left-leaning podcasters like Pac-Man, like Aaron Parnas, are taking $8,000 a month from some kind of liberal funding machine. I don't like that at all. I don't. They weren't transparent. I still haven't seen a contract. If you're not transparent, it leads to a lack of trust. Now, I don't know about you. I'd like to make $8,000 a month. How many people here make $8,000 a month? You think these people are getting paid $8,000 a month with no strings attached? I didn't see what Lucy said. Sorry, I have to look up. Phoenix. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Yeah, unfortunately, the algorithm sometimes, the stuff that I think is important, it just doesn't do it. Right. And Angel, there is an article. Well, go on his website. Hold on. It's hold on. I'll pull it up for you. Hold on. Right here. I don't know. I don't know if I hold on. Let me click on the screen and I'll show you here. Here it is. Here, I'm gonna. Can I pin this? Hold on. There you go. Right there. I figured it out. Woohoo! That's it right there. I don't know, Eli. From what I read, and you can guys read the article, allegedly it's just to encourage people to push left-leaning content. I don't know about you, but I'm not giving somebody $8,000. Listen, this is the thing that I have a hard time with. And I'm not saying anything was illegal. I'm not here to judge. If you can make $8,000 a month, knock yourself out. But when you're looking at these people with 5 million followers, they're getting paid a crap ton of money. They're probably making 20 or 30 G's a month in ad revenue. Then they have Substack where they're making another probably 5 or 10,000. Why do they need another $8,000? That's the whole. That doesn't make any sense compared to what they're making. That's not a big percentage of their monthly revenue. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's got a paywall? Really? Oh, crap. Hold on. Oh, yeah, shoot. Hold on. How about the post? Here it is. Here we go. Hold on. Hold on. I think this is from the New York Post. I don't really watch the New York Post because it's a bunch of crap, but at least this is the article. Hold on, pin. There you go. Try that one. I think that's it too. Why did Brian Shapiro debate Riley Gaines? Yeah, I hosted a show. There was a time, I'm just going to be honest because I don't know how else to be. It's gotten to the point where it's all rage bait. And all of his videos on YouTube are just this MAGA this and MAGA this and MAGA this. I just got a little burnout on it. Listen, Riley Gaines finished 6th place instead of 5th place. That's it. She became famous because she's a loser. And she craps on trans people. She is the typical white victim. Yeah, she's a loser. But the white people want to complain about something. They need to be the victim, right? Not the black people in this country, not immigrants, not non-white people. Somehow the white people find a way. I'm not judging Brian. I'm just saying I'm not into the rage bait. I never want to go on Piers Morgan. Now, if he wants to have a one-on-one about white supremacy, cool. But I'm not going to sit up there and debate with people. And this is the problem. This is where I fundamentally just have a problem. Why am I going to go on Piers Morgan and sit there when we all saw January 6th, when we know he's a felon, when we know he's an adjudicated rapist, when he's assaulted 25 women, tax fraud, steals from cancer charities, makes fun of disabled people, insults John McCain, and can't even keep his own marriage vows. And I'm supposed to go up there and just act like none of that happened just to yell and scream so you can make money off of my outrage? That's the problem with this country. We're normalizing that kind of behavior and we're getting desensitized to it. And I'm not going to do it. I might just be one person, but I'm not going to do it. Do I support cell phone bans in schools? I don't know, Eli. Here's the problem. I think in theory it's good because you don't want kids on their phones. But here's the problem. Because we live in this shitty country with guns, how are they going to call their parents or 911 if somebody breaks into their school? That's the problem. If nobody has phones, what are you going to do? That's where we're stuck because we won't address the gun problem. Yeah, Cat Daddy, you're right. That's why I find debating these people is ridiculous. What did you, like, even with Destiny, what does he do? He goes up there and he yells at people, calls them dumb. Then what? 2 things that they do. So. Yeah, I mean, at some point I might do podcasts, but I'm not here to talk about the funding bill and this and that. Listen, this funding bill isn't about the funding bill. This should be about democracy. What the Democrats have an opportunity to do is actually grow a backbone for once in their miserable lives. This isn't just about, look at where we are in this country. We have people in concentration camps, people dying in concentration camps, women losing their babies. We have 1,500 people that are missing from concentration camps in Florida. Nobody knows where the hell they are. None of them. We have military in our streets. We have the National Guard in our streets. We have a rapist president. We have the Department of Justice going after political enemies, taking away due process, joking about using our military in our own streets. And you have Pete Hegseth up here calling our people fat. And the economy is going down faster than Trump's ratings. And they're just going to say, well, let's find common ground on healthcare. I mean, come on, man. Can you guys not see the bigger picture here? What's going to happen when they give in? Let's say they give in. Cool. Great. You get your ACA. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Then what? What happens? Fascism takes off again. Well, we stood up for the people. In 14 months, the people will vote for us because we fought for healthcare. People forgot about January 6th the next month. Remember Alex Padilla? Remember he was thrown to the ground? Forgot about that. Pete Hegseth gave top secret phone calls on a public line on that channel. Forgot about that. I mean, come on, people. This is ridiculous. They're missing the bigger picture here. Yeah, Iris, I think that's a good point. I actually messaged, where was she? She was like a former MAGA lady. I would find that helpful at some point. I did debate. I had an interview with the Nitty Cult lady a little while ago. That was pretty good. Talking about the cult of Trump. So there is that. January 6th should have been a red light for everybody. E. Jean Carroll should have been a red line. Hiding top secret documents for a year should have been a red line. Lying about an election, asking them to overturn the election should have. There's a lot of red lines. And these people that pretend to love Jesus have no morality. They just care about maintaining the white male patriarchy. That's it. Yeah, the democracy is being chipped away little by little, and the Supreme Court is a big part of it. By allowing racial profiling, which is beyond words, the Supreme Court is completely corrupt. And allowing him to have immunity so he can do whatever the hell he wants and get away with it. I mean, if you think we're going to have midterms, you got to be sadly mistaken. His end game is martial law. Don't kid yourselves. Iris, enough people have to be willing to sacrifice, and I haven't seen that enough people are willing to do that yet. And the reality is that not enough white people want to do it. I unfollowed them. I don't want to be around them. If they're going to see what's happening, they know. I know they see it. I know that they see it on my page and on the news. And they would rather talk about traffic at high school because it's not my problem. And that's what white people do all the time. They ignore it, they ignore it, and they ignore it, and they hope that their whiteness keeps them safe. And I hope they suffer because of it. I really do. I hope they financially lose their jobs or lose their houses. Maybe they'll wake up. I don't see another way, people. I really don't. They had an option to do it the willing way. Now that it's going to be unwilling. Then they're going to pay attention. You're saying that in anger? I am angry because people are in concentration camps. Women have lost their pregnancies. People have lost their lives. People are being racially profiled. Women, because of their rights, have a 52% increased mortality rate in places like Texas. When I look at something, I act as if it's my mom or my sister or a cousin or an aunt or one of my kids. When there's a school shooting, I'm literally like yelling in my house. I am pissed because that could have been my kid. That's how I look at things. But not enough people do that. They just go to lunch at Wendy's. Oh, whatever. Another day. What are you going to do? Nothing. Yeah, it was 1,200. I thought it was 1,500. Yeah, I'm afraid. And then the other thing that was horrible was in Cancer Rally in the South, this dumbass in the White House took away the lawsuit against those companies. Those black neighborhoods are dying from cancer and horrible diseases every year. But because they're rich and they give money, they just took the lawsuit away. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Fufu, I wish I had an answer for you. And I don't think there's a lot we can do until people feel the pain. I don't see a way around this. And I don't think the Democrats are going to have the backbone to do what's necessary. They're going to cave at some point. Thank you, Lolo. We could protest every 2 months on a Saturday outside of working hours. I mean, it makes us feel good. We can stop spending for a couple days. We can black out the system. We can call in sick for a couple days. You can go to a town hall. But it's not going to do anything. It's not. They're not. That is not doing anything. It's not going to stop fascism. This guy's spending, what, $30 million on revamping the White House? While people are losing their health care. I mean, this is where we are. And we're kind of like, well, what are you going to do? Nothing I can do. Well, back to work. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, Mike, the sad reality is I don't think this is something new. I think this is the first time that a lot of white people are seeing what this country actually is. It's a third world dumpster fire that's been able to limp along, and it's getting to the point where they can no longer just push the racism and white supremacy and bigotry and xenophobia under the rug. And now it's out in the open. And we can't just push it back in the closet anymore. That's just the reality of it. It's all out in the open now. All of our friends and family that didn't say anything scurried out like cockroaches when a racist podcaster was the victim of a school shooting. Didn't say anything about the kids in concentration camps, nothing about school shootings, nothing about racial profiling, nothing about E. Jean Carroll or the girls at Epstein Island. But this guy, all of a sudden, they scurry out like cockroaches, and those are the fake white Christians that got him to the 77 million because of the racism. But Angel, you could back Democrats, but if you think that Hakeem Jeffries is going to do anything, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Both parties have failed us. One party's burning the house to the ground, the other one's watching it burn. And we've been told that we don't have a choice. And we do. We just choose to stay in this abusive relationship because we're unwilling to go to a third party, because we've been told if we vote for a third party, well, look how we got here. 90 million people didn't vote. The Democrats have a 19% approval rating. You still have Democrat governors that are refusing to do gerrymandering because they want to do the right thing. Democrats don't have a backbone. They don't do what's necessary. They just don't. Right. What's going to happen with the protests is they're going to stop showing up at some point. If you don't have a finish line, people will stop doing it. There must be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. The third party is the only option. I'm going to say it again. The Democrats and Republicans are two sides of the same coin. Then Angel, vote for the Democrats. But I told you so. You want to vote for Hakeem Jeffries? Good luck. You want to vote for Schumer? Good luck with that. Donate them. Knock yourself out. If you can't see it by now, I don't know what to tell you. Both parties are failing us as people. An independent, Ross Perot got 22% of the vote. If we had an actual third party, not a Jill Stein, she's a troll. She's not a serious person. She's a protest vote. Until we realize that both parties are the problem, then we're going to be stuck here in this abusive relationship. Jill Stein was a third party. What is she, Green Party? She's a troll. She scurries out like a cockroach every couple of years during the 4 years. She craps on both parties and then goes back into her cabinet and then pops back out. She gets about 1 million votes of people that are protesting their conscience, who probably helped create this mess to begin with. But at least they protested their conscience. The system's broken. We should have 3 or 4 parties. There's a reason they make it so hard. I voted for Ross Perot. That was my first election. I liked him. You can't change the Democrat seats if they're buying seats. Why is Nancy Pelosi still being put up there? Why hasn't Hakeem Jeffries endorsed Mamdani? Why? He won the goddamn primaries, a month ago? And he still hasn't endorsed him. Why? Why wasn't AOC made the vice chair of that seat? Why did he pick a 70-year-old man with throat cancer over AOC, who everybody loves? Why did David Hogg get kicked out in Kenyatta who wanted to make the Democratic Party younger and more progressive. They don't want to change. I don't know how to tell you that. They don't want to change because of this. They're all getting money from AIPAC and corporations. I can't force you to see what you don't want to see, my friends. They're all paid for. Yeah, but the Democrats can say it right now. If the Democrats had the backbone, come out and say it right now. Don't whisper it. Don't say it behind the scenes. Say it now. So, all right, my friends. Of the poor people's the poor people's army. Well, I'm going to Disneyland tomorrow. Well, I'm driving tomorrow, so I'll be there Friday and Saturday. So I have to go get packing and finish folding laundry. So, all right, my friends. Play the stock market. All right, my friends. Bye-bye. Good to see everyone. Let's see, end.